show is Derek, EGLD, or Elrond. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good to have you. We've been trying to do a show for a while now, but we finally made it, and I'm happy to have you on the show. You've been building something truly humongous, I can say, but I'm sure you can explain it best. But before we dive into X domains, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with crypto and NFTs?
Yeah, my name is Derek, and I've been in crypto for roughly 6 years now. And what brought me into the space was MLM businesses, which is kind of unusual. Um, I was in a lot of kind of like bad business, I would say, because I was learning and I didn't understand what, internet marketing and everything was about. So I was in a travel business, which was a scam. Okay. I was in it for a while. It didn't work out for me. I was not successful in it. Um, I, well, actually, the first MLM I got into was something different, but I lost like $100. And then I started seeing that the guy that I was following was just getting me into a bunch of scams. So I said, whatever, I'm done with that kind of stuff. Let's learn more about like price action trading. So then I started learning Forex, and I started learning how prices move. And that's what I did for like 2 years. Um, After about 2 years, I started getting really stressed from trading. Even though I was doing really good and succeeding in my trading, I started seeing gray hairs popping out. So I said, no, I'm done with this. I need to find something that's going to give me a good profit, but not give me the stress with it. And then I invested in crypto, but it took me about 2 years because I was already trading for 2 years. I decided I was just going to invest in something that I wanted to invest in that was like the next Bitcoin. So I went over like 500 white papers, and I decided that it was either Zilliqa or Elrond, and I picked Elrond, which is now MultiversX. So back then it was really big, like for me, because I seen something at such a small price, and it was ERD at like 0.0029 or something like that was my first buy or something like that. So it was really tiny. I mean, I think that's like $1.50 in today's like EGLD. So, and now EGLD, hit like almost $600, 500 something dollars. So, I mean, it was
Oh,
quite
it's
a,
still that high?
what's that?
Is it still that high?
No, it hit
Oh,
that high.
oh, okay. I thought so.
It's now back to like 30. I think it's like 38 or something like that right now.
But
Which
still, that's a nice gain, right? I mean, right there.
right. I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, it won't go back down there. I don't believe that. Uh,
No, no, I think we hit the rock bottom.
that would be insane. I mean, that would be like the lifetime chance again to, you know, I do feel like we haven't gotten into that segment, but I do feel like the lifetime chance for people to get back into crypto is coming. I don't think it's done, and that's just my
Sure.
opinion. From
Well,
price,
we'll definitely also go into that later on. But you are here because of X domains, and X domains is truly something special. And not many people have heard of it yet. So this will be, I guess, a scoop for somebody, or for many people, I guess. So let's go into it. What did you create?
so we wanted to create a name system that can be thanks for putting that up there, that can be backed by my NFTs that I create. So Impartial Apes is our biggest NFT brand that we started so far. um, it it is like going to be the biggest backing of our ecosystem when it comes to our community. So our community is gonna be holding Impartial Apes because they're gonna get the rewards from the platform, whatever that is. We can't promise what the rewards are. That's the one thing. We're in the U.S., so we have to be careful with what we say. So we can say we can give rewards, but we can't say what it is, and we can't say like when we're gonna drop it, how much, the whatever percentages, of whatever, there's no like profit yet for us to actually do any rewards. So we're not sustainable in the fact that we can give rewards because we're using all of our funds to build, which is how I feel is the best way to do it.
How difficult is it right now with the regulation in the US when you sort of start, when you put up a project like this?
We don't even know, I mean, it's still, they're leaving it up in the air so that we don't know, right? That's how they can get you, because ignorance is still against the law. But if you're ignorant to something that you can't even find out, that's how they can get you. And so that's why I feel like, the US is going the opposite way and we have to get out of the US as soon as possible, or move to a state that is going to protect us. Which there are more states that are coming out and looking very, very positive for the crypto space, because it's like guns, right? Like half of the states actually you can go and carry your own gun without a permit, without one, and conceal your gun. Yep. That's half our states already. So if they're going to want that, they're going to want financial freedom on top of it.
I'm thinking of Wyoming, Texas, Florida, perhaps.
Well, even Florida, they put a law in to where they aren't allowing CBDCs in their state. It's amazing, in my opinion, because that's what crypto was all about. It wasn't for the nation state to get their hands into. It was for us to become, free. But that's not where it is right now. I don't believe that. I believe that we're on a road to where it won't be free. But that's the U.S. Right now, and Canada is looking the same way because Binance just moved out of Canada, which that just shows.
Yeah, that will have an effect on the market, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I feel like a smothering is what they are doing, right? They need to smother, because even like, gold will be smothered, I feel like, a little bit, just keep, everyone at bay, and that's how they do it. Prices. What's the biggest thing to control the whole people? It's prices. True. What makes their mood good or bad? Prices.
That's simple.
It's weird, but it's buying and selling. It's it's understanding the market, and that's why I don't think we're done yet. But I think we're still going to go down, just like we do every cycle.
Yeah. Well, so we'll also talk about regulation, of course, and probably also more about some of these states. Some even accept gold as legal tender, so that's really positive as well. But you created XDomains, and XDomains is something really special. I think you can, the way I understand it, but I'm not very technical. I'm not like you. Is that you can host your own domain name using Elrond, the Elrond blockchain, but you can branch out to every different chain imaginable. It's interoperable in some way, right?
So yes, we're just starting at right now with our names because we are low budget, right? We aren't a high budget project. We started with our own money. We raised our own funds to begin, to pay our devs for the first part. And so it's just been a slow process now, raising funds after the fact, getting minting, or getting mints, getting whatever whatever income we can for our company to move forward. We already have like ETH pretty much built on right now. So XDomains is moving on to ETH, and we're going to offer different domains than what's on ETH right now, and we just feel like the branding is the next step to like NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
So we offer .ape and .bear. That's just an example of what we offer for NFT branding. Soon we will offer the option to be able to then copyright your brand name if it's not already taken. If it's taken and it's copyrighted, you might have to pay a lot more for it. But we're a private network, so we can. I think we can honestly offer almost any name we want. We do see a lot of other name services kind of, I think, putting
because
out.
you got ENS, right? That's a very sort of famous one.
Right, ENS, Unstoppable. Those, they're bigger companies. Yeah. We do feel like we have a good a good chance at coming up because we're a small company. We can move quicker. That is one thing that they're laying off people. We're trying to find people. So there's just, it shows kind of like we're moving, we're growing, they're shrinking. It just they don't care. They're eating every day. They're making lots of money. We wanna make it more community oriented. They're not community oriented. No name service is community oriented. They sit there and they'll show their names, but what is that really giving to the community besides branding? And why aren't the community owning that part of that at least? And that's a big thing for us and what we think the future for like names, because you actually own it with Elrond or MultiversX. It's not when it's in your wallet, it's not connected to like a smart contract, so it's real ownership. That's why we built on MultiversX, and we were the first name service on MultiversX, which was amazing.
That's very interesting.
I mean, they do have hero tags, but it's such a different system. It's it's not NFTs. It's just connected to your oh, just a second, let me get my computer.
No problem. Would you also say, in the current environment with the bear market and sort of the banking crisis and everything that's going on, that's actually an advantage if you're like a small upcoming company that is more nimble than these sort of big giant tech companies that have to lay off people and redistribute wealth?
Right. That, and we're building in a bear market. We've been very surprised at how every time we've needed to actually get something done, the funds have flowed in, or we've gotten it done and we brought it onto Twitter and the funds paid for it. I mean, it's amazing when you create demand for your project. It's amazing at what happens.
Yeah, it's just saying like build it and they will come, right?
Right. And people do use the name system almost every day. There are a few days that people aren't minting, but it's only like $3. For most of the, for over 7 characters, I think it is, it's like $3. For like 3 characters, it's 2 EGLD. But we have our vouchers, which are 0.5 EGLD, and you can get, you can get your 2 or your 3 character.
Can I have a question? So why did you pick Elrond over Silica? Because Silica is also, I know somebody who's very sort of enthusiastic. He's like a big fan of Silica for a very long time. So
Yeah.
what made you decide to pick Elrond over Silica?
Zilliqa, they were established and they were doing very well. But when I seen that MultiversX or Elrond, they figured out state sharding. That's like the most complex thing to actually come up with in this space. It hasn't been done yet, except for MultiversX. So that was the reason why I picked them. They took the same trip. Actually, the core team, they worked for Zilliqa. They worked for ETH. You know, they went through almost. It was funny. Like my journey, just as like a small person, was kind of the same as theirs in how they developed. I followed them without even knowing it. It was funny. So I mean, it wasn't when I got to MultiversX and then I figured out everything, and then they told their story. I wasn't surprised because I try to be as technical with my research as possible, and especially with like price action and stuff like that, and with crypto, I really spent most of my life now, especially the last like 6 years into it. So it's been fun though. I gotta say, being here for X domains now, it's changed everything.
You can say a lot about crypto, but it's never boring, right?
That's the one thing that I think it saved my life. I don't know where my life would be without crypto, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably be in a very dark place, you know, because there's no hope. And that's where I was before crypto. I was in a very dark, deep, dark place because there wasn't hope. There wasn't like this place where, you know, a business would flourish because you just put some time into it and, you know, that's it. Like, that is the most amazing thing, that you can just start anything you want, and it's open for anybody to just go and build whatever dream that they want, you know. I had this dream of doing this name service like a year and a half ago, and I said, you know, I started looking at like ENS, and I started looking at like Unstoppable, and I said, oh well, we will get to that in just a second. But so I looked into all these things, and I'm like, you know, there's not that many competitors. I mean, you look around the dexes, it piles on each, you know, one after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. And then you've marketplaces, one after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. And then you look at this, you know, names, nothing. Just like 3, 4, maybe 5 competitors. And it's like, wow, not one of them have hit real world.
Yep.
I'm about to break through that in like 3 weeks. So, you know, I'm already making moves, you know. What I'm doing is I'm building in different areas, and then I'm going to connect them all together. Instead of doing things, you know, at a slower pace, you know, I'm going to hit different, you know, Web 2, Web 3, all over Web 3, as much as I can, because we can offer our service to any chain, and that's what will be big.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I'm also glad that you got out of the dark space. I mean, we also live in a very dark time, so you know, I can totally understand where you're coming from, and some people from the outside looking in on crypto and NFTs, they also only see the negative side of it, but it's, you know, it's a wild west, but it also makes it very lively and fun, and I think they're missing out on all the good stuff that is actually happening in the space, and that it's actually a free market, like a real free market that can be manipulated. But you know, every market can be manipulated, but it is a free market, right? You have good cops, bad cops, good cowboys, bad cowboys, right? It's and everything in between.
Yeah, it was good to come in on the wrong end of crypto, because then it was a really good learning experience to step forward and really see, you know, who's scamming who. That's the funniest thing. Like, you know, like I just watch the space and I laugh, because, you know, there's so many projects. They you know, they take the money. They some of them run and some of them don't run. You see, you know, and they stick around. And then, you know, they're like, go my project, but your project is, you've spent all the money on yourself already. And
yeah, and I think another thing to point out, and I think many people have already pointed it out, is that the normal market, or what people consider to be the normal market, is way more manipulated and way more fraught with danger, right? I mean, we're now starting to find out how dangerous the normal markets actually
right.
are and how unfree they are.
Right. Well, and banks, banks are falling. We have different different people in our governments profiting. We have
Insider trading.
Yeah, and then we have everything's put out there to separate. So even in the crypto space, I mean, we are separated because someone's out there doing it and
Mhm.
making it that way. Um, and maybe it's meme coins. Maybe it's well, meme coins are the top. They're the top signal every time. I will tell everybody, meme coins are the top signal. If you do not believe it, it's happened many, many times, and I've watched it like I'd say like 10 times now. I watch it throughout the years, just meme coins and just watching it go up, and then boom, right after meme season, it's like that's when everyone gets pumped up, and it's usually in a time of really insane hype or depression. So those are the things. Like if it's in depression, then you really got to be careful because people are just hyping things up because they need that. They need
So
that.
it's like their exit scheme. Sort of, they pump up these meme coins so that they can
Well,
get out.
I I think it's like this. It's like people get bored. The people that aren't making money, and the bigger whales, they need to make money, right? They need to come up with something, and then that will get everybody on board. And we've seen it just like with like one coin. I mean, look at that. That was the biggest scam in our one of our histories.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, look at how good they talked, look at how good they looked, look at how they got the people, and I see it over and over again. My voice is coarse, my voice is loud, but it's always it tries to stay true to certain measures in the market, right? And it stays true to what I see, not what I feel. you know
Yeah.
um,
Well, and like we said earlier, like the market, the crypto market is still almost unregulated. I mean, there's some regulation, but it's almost non-existent, and the regulation there is almost not understandable, or you cannot comply with the regulations if even if you wanted to. So there's no clarity on that front. So basically, it's a free for all, right? You attract the worst in people and the best in people, and yeah, normal people like probably some viewers who are watching it, they have to sort of sort out this mess and find the legitimate projects, the people who are with integrity, and the people who are just scamming others.
right. Yeah. So I guess we can talk about dinky linkers a bit.
Yeah,
And we can talk about impartial apes a little more.
yeah,
We want to do a lot with our NFTs, but we also want to make them like the key to the access um, to our system and everything around our system, which we want to actually have an ecosystem around our names. That's going to be the thing that drives our names. That drives the income for our company, and we want to keep building off of that. We
Mhm.
feel like we have a good plan in place. We haven't actually let the community know everything that we have planned, but it's kind of basic. But we do have, like, I think it's like a 14-page white paper or something like that. Maybe it's longer. I don't even know by now. but but Dinky Linkers and Impartial Apes will also be um, like the keys to the kingdom. Like you don't have to pay to then use the services. Which if it comes out the way I really want it to come out, you will be able to then rent your Dinky Linkers out or your Impartial Apes to use on the platform, for people to use on the platform. for maybe cheaper than what the actual price is, or to push a sort of, especially like with domains too, because to rent them out, that's the main thing that I feel like will really catch the market, because you'll be able to then own your asset. You'll be able to use the asset without using it, and let other people use it. And it shouldn't ever be something that you're looking at as just like, I want to sell this. No, I want to wait for the demand, and I want to get people to then see what I have and then rent it out. And that's what I feel like is being done, but by the first person, right?
Yeah.
So it's being done by like ENS. ENS is renting them out. It's not done by the person. You have to keep paying every year, but instead of having 0 royalties like ENS has, we're having 4% royalties. So it's just the opposite. We're just switching it up a little bit, and we're putting the royalties in and making the ultimate owning free, instead of having to pay over and over again for it.
Yeah, because you can sort of burn these NFTs and then you get these domains, or you can hold them and earn tokens in the future, right?
So we have a few different like ways to get domains. You can use our voucher, which they're minting for 0.5 EGLD right now, and I think they are under floor right now and under mint, or the floor is under mint, sorry. But the voucher is just there to get cheaper, more expensive domains. They were the first thing that actually came out, and was the first thing that we used to raise funds. And then we dropped Impartial Apes on our holders of our vouchers. So it was a pretty cool way to get going. And then we built our system, and we were able to then implement the vouchers, implement Rare, which is a token by Super Rare Bears. Shout out to them. They're one of our partners. You can use it's 300 Rare to get a domain right now. So that's pretty cool to have another token to give utility to that token to then use on our ecosystem, because they were a pretty big gainer in our ecosystem. A lot of people don't really understand how big Rare was for a lot of people, and how much money they made off of it, because they had a good community that rallied around it.
Yeah.
And now Dinky Linkers, all of them are gonna, all of the NFTs that I made and Trevor are gonna get token distribution. So they're gonna get tokens for domains,
Cool.
and that's what they'll be used for first. Impartial Apes will get the biggest drop because they were the first. They get the most benefits from the platform, like I said. But Dinky Linkers will also get a drop, and they're going to be on Ethereum. So that's the next step, is hitting Ethereum. We are kind of lacking, I think, on the marketing in Ethereum right now. We're looking for people in Ethereum. It's been kind of hard to find the right person that will be in our community and understand what we're doing.
But why the switch to Ethereum? Because the gas fees, congestion issues, right? It has a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, but that it's always been a problem. But the liquidity is always the best there. It's it doesn't really matter.
And brand recognition. Yeah.
Having it and just having it there and having it available for branding NFTs on Ethereum, and then having Dinky Linkers, figuring a way for our minters to have mint one time for all their linkers. If they have multiple, hopefully we can get a one mint for all kind of thing going. I think that they have that on ETH. So we want to keep the gas fees down as much as possible. So we'll be doing like minting parties during low gas fees. And we're gonna try to
And
figure it out.
how do you
Hopefully it all dies down by the time we are gonna mint.
and how do you feel, because Ethereum is also like in constant construction and upgrades, right? So how do you see the future of Ethereum? Do you think the upgrade to Ethereum 2.0 and beyond will go will continue and will be successful?
Well, that's a thing I've thought about too. I do think it's gonna be it's gonna go just like it always has. I just don't think it's gonna stop, no matter what issues. I mean, we did have an hour where Ethereum didn't work.
True.
We just had that like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So we are on like we're on thin lines. Like, maybe Ethereum should have stayed proof of work, in my opinion. That's just my opinion though.
Yeah.
They
Keep it
should,
decentralized.
right. And I just think that they might have taken the wrong turn by changing it to a proof of stake. Well, now we're just the issues are starting to show a little bit, maybe, but maybe it's not as bad as we think. But it's just I guess we'll just have to see from here. It's really up in the air. More established chains might come by and really take market share if something goes wrong, or the whole market really goes down.
Do you think Ethereum will continue and be successful because of, for example, the Ethereum enterprise and all the companies that are behind it?
I
Or
think so, yeah. I don't think ETH will stop. I think it will keep going. I think it's going to be a hard road for them, but I think by the end of the day, they'll have everything worked out to be what it can be. I don't think it will ever be like MultiversX. I just don't. You can't turn something like Ethereum into like something like MultiversX unless you're taking the whole chain and throwing it away and replacing it with a whole different chain.
True. Yeah.
Which you can't. Honestly, I don't think you could do. So
I guess you could say the value proposition for Bitcoin and some other decentralized projects is that they are truly decentralized and probably the future because of that. And then the value proposition of Ethereum and some of the projects that go proof of stake is basically that they attract the old financial system to back it up, right? Because they do have a very powerful allies from within the traditional system with a lot of money.
I do believe Bitcoin has its downfalls too, especially now we're seeing like ordinals coming and blocking the whole, the whole chain up. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, they should have built right on Lightning Network instead of filling up these blocks, with ordinals and having them the size of like if we actually looked at like the Bitcoin network, right, it would be like an ant, and then you're literally throwing the Empire State Building onto an ant. That's literally what an ordinal does to Bitcoin. It makes it so much slower. The gas fees for Bitcoin go way up through the roof. That will probably I think that a new way will come out for some sort of I would, if I were to do it, I would have done it on the Lightning Network. I don't even know if it's done yet. I thought about that too.
Well, you got sort of solutions like Stacks and I think Xenon is also working and some others. But they, I guess you could say that if the market will sort it out, right? I mean, if the gas fees rise too much, then you'll stop making ordinals.
Well, I don't know. I mean, people will keep doing it, and it won't stop. So that's why I'm saying it's a cascading event that happened on Bitcoin, and Litecoin I think will be able to handle it more. But Bitcoin, it's so slow. It's very slow. So we will see if they figure out that part of it. That will be really fun to watch, I guess, to see, because it could make Bitcoin way more valuable because of the
Yeah.
gas, and I mean, so
And also the inscription, right? I mean, the inscription on the blocks. I mean, that, there's nothing more permanent
still Bitcoin
than a
though,
Bitcoin
right?
inscription.
It's not. There's just a picture on a Bitcoin.
True.
That's all it is. It's still a Bitcoin,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah,
Right.
but
So
that's
it's
basically
different
my
too.
point.
It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
um, it's fun learning in this space because all these new things coming out, and it blows your mind. Like, everyone talked about NFTs on Bitcoin for a long time until somebody decided, and I think it was one of the miners that was like, "Well, we're not making enough. How can we raise these gas fees up?" And I honestly think that's how it happened, because think about it. That's what, like, Ethereum miners would do too. They would try to figure out how to, like, put things out. I guarantee most of the big things that went out that actually gained a lot of traction were probably from miners. I would guess that they would push the transactions to the furthest that they could to get more network value. So
Makes sense. So can you tell us a little bit about the roadmap, or maybe do you want to highlight something else that we sort of missed out?
um let's see, I don't know. The roadmap, we're really far in our roadmap already. So if you zoom into I don't know if you can zoom into the roadmap.
Let's see. Yeah, that's difficult. No.
But yeah, we're already into, like, next year. um so yeah, we kind of went really, we we set our roadmap to, like, obliterate it right away. Like, we wanted to give a reasonable expectation, but then really just destroy it. And I mean, we built our system within like a month and a half. It was like very fast, and we got it out there. Our development lately has been kind of slow just because everyone's so busy doing a lot of different things, especially our developers. So, but we've outsourced more developers, and they keep running to us. I mean, at one point, I think we had like 16 to 20 devs that
Wow,
were literally lined up to work.
that's quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And right now we have 6 that are on hand that can do things. So,
Wow.
one of them that's back and forth, and then the other ones just do other kind of different aspects, and then one that does most of the coding and the different things. So, yeah,
Oh,
UI for ETH is being done right now. That's what we're working on big time. So,
and what is the cognac drinks? I mean, I'm more of the whiskey, but cognac is
they
nice
were
too.
they were the first NFTs. There was just 20 of them, so we just made, like, OGs, like the 20 OGs, and then we dropped everything on them, everything. So they got literally every NFT that's possible, except for, I don't think Dinky Linkers are going to be for that whole collection. So yeah, that collection and the rest of Elron Energy. I forget the ending of it. His drinks, the main collection of his drinks, those will all get free mints on Dinky Linkers. We know gas is going to be high, and we understand it might take time to mint out. But with even like an eighth or even a tenth of what we can mint from Dinky Linkers will keep us moving forward. So that's why it's just great. It can be a step-by-step thing that we do. And I really believe that we're onto something really big. So
Well, this sounds really exciting, and like you said, in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, you're gonna explode basically onto
yes.
the sea. So
Well, I'd say we are going to explode in a few different directions.
Well, that's the best way, right? If you want to explode.
Right. Well, I mean, you can go and you can hit Ethereum, but if you're only gonna sit in the crypto space, then what this is what I ask myself every day. Why am I building this project? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing what I'm doing if I'm gonna only be sitting in the crypto space? That's why I guess we can go into why I created XDomainServices.
Yeah, please do.
So I seen that, like I said before, the branding is the next step, but I took the steps into understanding what I wanted to get into next. I searched all the information, the trends, understanding where we're at in the market right now, and I just knew that it was a bear market. It's time to build. Um, we look at like domains, web development, and uh, any kind of building on web, and it's all just sideways since 2004. It honestly has. Look at the internet; it hasn't changed that much. It's gotten a little better graphic wise, but in reality, the whole thing is still just the same. People don't understand that. It's upgraded just small. It's very small. Really, what we've upgraded since back in 1999, even. It's just the visual is better. That's literally it.
So how would you describe sort of the Web3 revolution or the Internet of Value? What is the sort of the value proposition there? Because many people have no idea, right?
Right. Well, and see, this is where it's gonna really boil down to how do you get the next people into crypto, and we believe that we are gonna build our ecosystem around the creators, right? Because those are the people that are selling themselves every day on YouTube, right? Those are the people that have a huge amount of following that are buying whatever they're saying to buy, right? And that's where it's at right now. That's where everything's at. So if we build the whole ecosystem around those people, they will be able to easily come in and be like, this is for me. This is for my people. My people can use this. They can benefit off this. I can be sponsored by this. Bam. That's the one thing that we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking to be sponsoring a lot of these big creators, and they should be the ones that are leading the revolution in crypto, but they aren't. They are sitting in the Web 2, they're sponsored by Dollar Shave Club or, whatever the heck it is. It's time for something real that they can use, their people can use, that they can benefit off of. There and I think the big thing is data and where that data goes. I think and who uses that data of yours is another thing we're looking at. So it's going to be bigger and bigger, your data. And when you're actually surfing the private web or the open web, what is your expectations of what's going to be the expectations of the future, and how can we get ahead of that and become something people use every day? And that's where we're trying to go, right?
So it's basically also becoming ownership of your own content, and you're basically about anything that you create, right? Without having the middle person taking their share or taking.
Well, I mean, we just look across, like social media. You say you just open a YouTube account, right? And you become really big on that YouTube account, and then you go and try to get you know you go to like Instagram, right? And you're like, okay, well, now I became big on YouTube, I'm going to go on Instagram. And you go and try to get your name, and you're like, oh, well, I can't get the same name like on all these different platforms. And you can see where I'm going with that. um it will change the name game. and that's where we need to go. Otherwise, branding doesn't matter or doesn't mean a thing.
True. Yeah. So we already mentioned it. We also wanted to talk a little bit about the market.
Yeah.
So you said we are in the bear markets. I think nobody will dispute that. But how do you see it going forward?
Well, I don't see price action as good.
Mm.
I see it as being we're still above where I think we're going. I've told people over and over again that back in 2018 when the market went down, then it took over 700 days for us to go back up again. So for us to do that, or for us to expect to go up right now, I think it's a folly, and I think it's a farce.
Mm. That makes sense. And I know you're not the only one. I also spoke to other people. And I think, sort of the thing that you mentioned at the beginning, that Binance is leaving Canada at the moment. And for example, Coinbase is also sort of having trouble, a lot of trouble in America, even though it's good that the Chamber of Commerce sort of supported them. And even in Japan, right? I mean, you see the crypto market, these big crypto companies retracing and contracting, and of course the general market also looks horrible. But you could also argue the other way, right? The banking crisis seems to give Bitcoin huge boosts with the money flowing out of the banks. So do you think that might change anything, or do you think just stick to the charts, stick to the market?
I think until like housing crashes, that's still going to be the safe haven. Okay, so banks aren't a safe haven. They're where people get loans, and they where people store their wealth into homes, and then they use those homes to then live off of them. That's where we're at right now. Until that shifts into like Bitcoin, we're gonna just see that still go the way it's been going.
So how do you see the commercial real estate collapse
That's
that
a good
we're
one.
about to experience?
I've been watching this too really closely. I do feel like that will be where it starts, but I feel it's already started with SVB. They're not stopping the raising of interest rates, which shows me that they're on a path to destroy. It's a
Demolition.
path. It's demolition, right? The old banks, the ones that aren't really doing them any good, they're just going to go down because they're like, well, your balance and your people aren't worth it to us anymore. Let's take you and throw you into this other pool that's bigger, and then we have more control over the market. And
So do you think it's because some people argue, that Powell wants to be Volcker, and that they don't know what they're doing, that they're incompetent. But do you think it's orchestrated?
I think they're very competent. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that's also my view.
Yeah, they couldn't not know because of all the data and analysts that they have by their side. There's just no way. If I can see it, then they can see it.
Yeah, that's also my argument. I mean, 10 years ago, you could argue that they, didn't know what they're doing because it's like, one new experiment. And but by now, everybody, I mean, people like you and me, we can see it. So how?
Well, they've been doing it for about 100 years now. The same thing.
True.
It's literally just taking a block and you're just putting it on the wall, and it's not a stable block. It's a block that's maybe lopsided, and then you're going to stick the next lopsided block on, and at some point it has to fall.
So if you think that it's orchestrated, so what is their end game? Why are they doing this?
I honestly think it is to crash the markets and to put fear into the people. And also, I honestly think that they need to take these other banks out because maybe they might not be up to a CBDC, or they might not be big enough to have a CBDC maybe. So that's why another these or the central bank is raising the rates to destroy these banks, and they knew it was going to happen. It wasn't like it was something, that was surprising. The federal government knew exactly that these banks were going to fall because what's happening in June and July. So
Yeah, and then also, they give forward guidance to these banks, right? So they tell the banks what they're gonna do, and then they did the exact opposite. So
well, and of course, if you look at all the executives of the banks, they all sold right at top,
true, true.
and so they are obviously in communication with somebody that is letting them know what is taking place,
Yeah.
so that they can shield the people that are most wealthy and running these institutions, so that because think about it, if they didn't let them get away with that, then who'd be opening their mouth?
True. So, and that also shows that the whole regulation issue is moot, right? I mean, there's no regulation. I mean, there's only regulation for normal people, but at the top there's no regulation.
For thee, but for me, that's that doesn't,
And for the people who want to know more, I'll link 2 videos in the YouTube description box. One by George Gammon about JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, and one from Richard Werner, who has done a lot of research in this area. So
yeah, and so I mean, the government already they have a 2% target inflation every year. I mean, that alone, should give you like goosebumps, and it should really like send red flags. Like, we should have already taken care of this as people, but we are set apart, and that's why we don't do anything about it. And it's orchestrated by them to keep us, if it's race or sex or whatever it is, to keep us fighting, to keep us hurting,
divide and conquer.
right? Because if you can make those people fight and not care about what they're doing, then they're free and clear to do what they want, because only a small amount of the population is actually looking at that.
And that population you can vilify, right? You can say, oh, look at crypto, right? All this suffering is caused by those crypto lunatics.
Right. But it's funny how the bank was the first to fall, not crypto. And it was, that was SVB was the biggest. I think that's going to be that was the shot that was heard around the world, kind of, in the whole market. I think that's what should have showed us that we should be fighting back against this right now, because they literally took out all the players in crypto just with like one bank.
Yeah, but true. But then they can argue like, oh, the bank fell because it's exposure to crypto, and the crypto.
Well, I mean, but then the other banks weren't exposed to crypto, so then there's that, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, true. I mean, I'm completely on your side. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, we can definitely see it. People can be influenced in a different way, though, to see it whatever way they want to be.
True,
so.
and most people have no idea about economics and finance, so they'll believe whatever Powell says or Yellen or whoever it is. Hey, you also said something very important about regulation and certain spaces in the U.S. that are sort of certain states that are, drawing their own lines, and we're sort of painting a pretty dark picture. So, how do you see the future of the U.S. and is there hope? And you're even
a lot more
talking
people
about
will be
leaving the
moving to
US?
Wyoming. A lot of people will be moving to it's like a desert, you know. It's like there's nothing there. I worked out there before. I built a huge berm out there. There's just literally not much in Wyoming, but I think a lot more people will be starting to move there. Delaware, different crypto, like Florida. Florida will be a big, you know, unless it gets, you know, covered in water, you know, at some point by the melting glaciers. Florida should be a crypto capital of the United States, especially with their new bill that they're putting out. It's quite amazing, and I wouldn't mind moving there myself, but
But you're even considering moving outside of the US if necessary.
if necessary, because we wanna be able to operate the way that we want in legally in a country that, you know, wants us to be there.
So which countries would that be?
You know, like Panama, I guess. You know, there's so many different. We haven't picked anything. You know, we're still very early phases of building. So,
What's your view on El Salvador?
El Salvador, yeah. I think they just passed more laws there, pro crypto.
Yeah, but they are Bitcoin only, right? So that might be an issue.
I don't think they're Bitcoin only.
That's
I think, and then I think there's another country that actually, who was it? They had EGLD in their legislation.
wow.
They had Elrond in their legislation. Yeah, I forget what.
European country?
No, I think it was Panama.
Oh,
Was it
interesting.
Panama or it was a southern or I mean a South America American country.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had Elrond MultiversX in their actual, yeah.
Well, and Panama is also a gun-carrying country, right?
I don't know if it is it?
Yeah. I know somebody who wants to move there, so
Yeah,
it was a big issue for him. So and yeah, like 3D says, small islands in South America, right? Yeah,
right.
these spaces, safe spaces. You know, depending on your point of view, right? Some people would say they're, you know, outlaw.
Yeah, it's like could you get robbed just walking down the street a lot easier? Probably.
True. Yeah,
But
but you know, if they attract, you know, if there's like a brain income, or you know, not what's the opposite of a brain drain, like a brain inflow,
right.
and a capital inflow, right? It will also clear up a lot of these places because it's, you know, it's all supply and demand, it's all market forces, right? So
I
it's
think
not
I think a lot of these countries that are third world today will come up, and there'll be a lot less poverty. I think when countries actually figure out how to use the technology, build their economy off of it. I think AI will change a lot of these other countries too. I don't think it's going to be, you know, just our country, but it's going to actually affect the third world countries more. Um, I think that, you know, we're going to have a lot more of a even playing field with a lot of these third world. If you're not, you know, if you don't have anything that's relevant in the new world, you're going to be almost just like a third world person. You
true.
know, you won't be able to look at them any differently than yourself in the future. I feel like so.
Yeah, it will be like, you know, the last shall be first and the first shall be last, right? I mean, those countries that have the least to lose and the most to gain, you know, they'll make the switch first, and those countries like the US who have the most to lose and the least to gain will make the switch last and end up last, right?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, Derek, on that positive note, because I think that's positive, and yeah, I want to end this show. I want to thank you for being on Bitcoin Live and telling about X domains. And I would love to have you back in about 2 to 3 weeks when you're, yeah,
Let's do it.
making your moves.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to congratulate on doing this project and your achievements. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on this podcast. I love being here. Awesome.